inspirational live broadcast and soon-to-be podcast created to nourish your mind, body and soul. Last week I spoke to the lovely Anna Doria about her visual language and the importance of that in your life. So the reason I started this live, which will also be released as a podcast, is to create inspiration, connection, and for anyone watching to see the new possibilities and opportunities in front of them. It's all about the awesome people that I've met on my journey who inspire me with their uniqueness, heart-centeredness, and devotion to others. If you want, you can connect with those people in the descriptions of this live event. They all inspire me, and I hope they also inspire you too. So I'm your host, Matt Love. I'm an internet presence mentor and consultant for conscious transformation specialists like Joey. And for those who don't know what internet presence is, because I get asked a lot, it's what you need to establish and grow your business on the internet using social media, search engines like Google and other forms of digital marketing. It's basically becoming visits and staying visible online. You can find me at mattlove.business or on Facebook here on my profile or on LinkedIn. Just search Matt Love Creator. So today I'm talking with Joie Costa from Presence Manifest about the secrets of presence. It's a pleasure to have you here, Joie. Do you want to tell us a little bit about what Presence Manifest is and what you do?
Okay, well, Presence Manifest is an applied energetic philosophy, which sounds pretty aloof. But in practicality, it's a practice of conscious endings. And it is quite simple. And everyone can use it in a little or a big way to bring themselves more into presence, more into alignment with what actually is, and not so much diluted and distorted from what has been.
Yeah, awesome. And I mean, I've been truly inspired by learning about Presence Manifest and sharing much wisdom with me, and that's one of the reasons that we're here today. And so, I mean, I personally think to clear things up for people who are here, first of all, how can presence benefit you in your life and business? So can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Yeah. First of all, presence in the way that I speak about it is an energetic presence. So first and foremost, I guess, like, that would be the thing to say, is that the presence that I'm speaking of is an alignment with possibility, your intuition, your current reality, and your heart, your heart and your body, everything in one place. And how this affects, it affects your business and your life is because most of our decisions are subconscious. And if our conscious decisions, which only make up about 5 or 6%, are kind of tripped up all the time by past experience and past understanding and past rationality, then there's very little of our lives that are actually present at that point. And so it's easy to make life decisions and business decisions and daily decisions that quite honestly have nothing to do with today. Like, you're making a lot of decisions from stuff that used to work, stuff that you believe should work, and not stuff that you're really feeling into, taking a pause, being able to pause, consider, and move forward with. So presence in your business and your life help you make clearer decisions that will bring greater impact than making the decisions in non-presence that will produce more of the same.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, pure wisdom, to be honest. I think that's one thing that people don't realize is, one, that, in life and business, I'm sure we're all aware, we have a ton of decisions to make, especially when we decide to go into business for ourselves. And often if we make unaligned decisions, that can be a little bit challenging for us, and we can end up going the long way about things, or even the wrong way, if there is such a way. Yeah.
Right.
So yeah. Oh, brilliant. So we got a few people just watching us live. So that's really good to see you all here. Thanks for the people that have shown up 2 weeks in a row, and thank you for all the new people that are coming. So we've just started. We're just talking about presence. So I just want to throw another question in there: presence and being present, same thing or slightly different?
Slightly different, because I think that's why I think that's what I was alluding to in when you asked the first question, because a lot of people have this idea, and I do too. There is a way of being present with your reality, meaning you're focused, you're seeing what's going on, but being in an energetic state of presence, you're seeing what's going on, you're using that focus to its optimum, because not only are you focusing on what's around you and being present with the moment and being present with your food or being mindful. A lot of people can interpret presence as mindfulness, but having an energetic state of presence on top of that amplifies that experience, because not only are you focused on what's there, you're also not clouded by what was there. So it's more intimate. So presence as a state versus being present as mindfulness. They're both amazing, and together they're more amazing.
Awesome. So just to apologize to everyone if I've got a bit of background noise, there's nothing I can do about it, but I'll try and keep my voice above it all so you can hear me loud and clear. I mean, that is an awesome way of describing it. And I think having a presence and being present are two crucial things that help us in our lives. So let's move on. So now this is something that I've found important from talking with you. And so it's kind of, what's the secret of escaping the past, or what is it that often we maybe don't realize is holding us in the past and stops us from becoming more present, so we can make decisions from our presence, from where we are right now?
Yeah.
So basically, you know.
Yeah, working with the unknown. So for those who are watching, right, this is what I'm talking about is my reality, right? This is how I see things. But what I'd like people to imagine, if it's not your reality yet, is what if your past experiences were, if you could visualize your past experiences as these little lenses. Every past experience makes this little lens, and it just kind of floats around you, right? And we don't see them, but they're there. And working with a practice of conscious ending, what we're doing is we're dissipating and clearing and taking away some of these lenses. But for most of us walking around, we have thousands of these little lenses that kind of come into our perception as soon as we encounter something that's similar to a past experience. So the secret really is in ending your past experiences, or giving these lenses, giving these little things, if you can imagine them as forms or lenses, giving them sort of an end, taking them and letting them dissipate, letting them go away. We are in a constant state of creation, being a human being. But at least myself, I was never really taught to give things endings. I'm just, be in this constant state of creation. And so what ends up happening is a lot of our past experiences clutter our energy. And that energy clutter that we carry with us, that we can't see if you're not energetically inclined or to palpate it, it's there. But that energetic clutter distorts our current perception of things. And it gives us probability things to kind of decide within. It just does all sorts of havoc on our present moment. And so the secret really is in the ending of our past experiences, because we get to keep the wisdom, we get to keep the gratitude, we get to keep the knowledge. Mm-hmm. We don't need the energetic clutter. Like, we just don't.
Yeah, and absolutely. That's what you shared with me in the past. And this was something that I really thought about for a long time. Other information that related directly to it. And so often when we have these experiences that we haven't got what we call closure on in some way, shape or form. And it doesn't need to be like resolution, it just needs to be closure. We have all these open loops that are affecting us energetically to today, and also altering our decisions. And, you know, different emotions attached to those experiences make us think about things in different ways. Like when we clear that, then obviously we can make much better decisions, which is the thing we started talking about at the beginning, the power of presence. And so it was specifically something to do with experiences, which has completely slipped my mind. Great thing about live. So yeah, so I mean, you talked about closing experience, you talked about ending those experiences. So can you expand a little bit on what that means? Is that possible, what closing an experience means? Because like I said, it's not really about having to do the old-fashioned dig it all up, find all the answers and the solutions.
Right. So when most people think about having closure to an experience, they think more on like a psychological level, like, oh, I have to understand it, I have to relate it to something, I have to get all the information from other people, or you know, it's very psychological. And the work that I do is more, if you can imagine yourself as a computer, right? All these past experiences are open tabs, and the process is about closing the tabs, right? Just not having so many open, you know, open files and folders in any given moment that it's distracting and that it's keeping you from seeing what is around you in an intimate and clear way. So the beginning practice, the beginning process is really just to play with the idea that you can end experiences. So you can practice it on your own, walking around, just, I am my experience of this, I am my experience of that. And that'll work on an energetic level, because I see all experiences as little open files. And as soon as you give with your mind the directive to close that file, it will do that in an energetic way, which will kind of change your energetic, what I call signature. And then your signature, your energetic signature, your being is a little bit different. And so you interact with the world a little different, and then different things show up. So it becomes quite fun to clean up your energy system. It's like energetic hygiene.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, that was one of those things that obviously was completely new to me. I suffered from depression when I was younger. I had addiction. I've been through the mental health authorities and system in the UK, and everything was about digging it up and finding resolution, analyzing and everything like that. And it's like, well, perhaps I already know the answer. I'm just not ready to accept it yet. And I don't need to look at it, analyze it, conclude anything. And I've tried some of your methods, and yeah, they work really well, you know. And I really love the whole experience of closing things. And it, you know, that's why we're here talking today, to share this wisdom with the rest of the world, so they can sort of move forward with their lives much quicker than they maybe are with the traditional knowledge that's out there. So I just want to give a big shout out to everybody that's been watching. We've got quite a few people, so thank you, Agni, Susan, Jennifer, Anna, and anyone else, Ellie or Li, I don't know how to say your name. Sorry about that. I'll find out when I meet you next week. And anyone else that's watching, if you want to leave a comment or ask any questions, you can on Facebook. And if you see me distracted, that's because I'm responding to everybody, and they're loving it so far. And they're loving how simple you're making this sound. So that's what's really, really good. So, okay, so I think we kind of answered this, but, you know, one of the things I think this really helps with is, like, often we get held back from overcoming challenges and making new things stick, you know, building new habits and things. And sorry, somebody just commented, I just noticed 60 tabs open on my screen. I have to say, actually, how I love the way you explain that, because it just makes so much sense. You know, when you've got 60 tabs open on your computer's like, hey, overload, overload. It's like, please close something. And so we are the same when we have all those open experiences from our past that we think we've buried. We think we've got them, oh, that's all right, that's in a box here, that's not coming back. They always come back when we least want them to, when we least expect them to. So what could be holding us back, and from overcoming our challenges every day and making new habits stick, and because they're quite important things in life and business. Is that something you can expand on?
Yeah, so when you're habitualized, which can be a good thing, you can have a really great habit. Our subconscious makes so many decisions. So if you already know that the probability that if you do X, it's going to create something, and that's what you're trying to do, subconsciously your mind's going to set you up for that. And there's really not going to be any blip in that, because it works. And our minds are wonderful. They're made to give us things that are probable. Like that's kind of the difference between the intuitive mind and the mind, right? So practicing presence is going to lean us more towards possibility. So if you're trying to create a new habit without closing the old habit on an energetic level, so I'm just going to keep bringing it down to just the absolute practical. If you want to start a new habit, the best thing to do is to sit with yourself and get yourself into a meditative state and just say, I end the experience of whatever the old habit was. Because your mind, right, it's going to focus on what you tell it to focus. And so if you have this habit, if you imagine it like a form and it's open and you're trying to make a new one, but all of this like really good information that says this works is open, you're going to have a really hard time being in this new thing, because you have both of them open and your brain's like, but we already figured this out. This is what works. This is what we do, right? When you end it energetically first, it'll give you the space in your mind to really feel into the new stuff more, to feel into the possibility more, to feel into the potential more, to feel in your body more, to make it easier to uptake a new habit, or to create a new habit if that's what you're going for, replacing an old habit with a new habit.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, so yeah, sorry, did you want to say anything else, or?
Oh, just that like I tend to go a little bit in the extreme, so I try to take away habit and replace with possibility and not new habits. But it works for if you're trying to replace habit with habit too, because you really want to let the old habit die. You want to say thank you for everything you've given me, like take the lens off, and so if you're trying to put something new on, it's like you wouldn't put a new pair of glasses on over your old glasses. Like take the old glasses off to put the new glasses on. So if you're starting anything new, end everything just with a directive, I end anything that is not that, right? That is the old, or that is the tangent, or that is the other 8 things that you were thinking of before you chose something to focus on. If you end with everything that's not the thing that you want to focus on, you're going to get more clarity, potential, possibility with what you're focusing on.
Yeah, you know me well, thinking about 8 things. I'm going to say, yeah, that's definitely me. Now, we've got a couple of questions. I'm going to get to them in just a second. So I just wanted to say, yeah, I mean, these things are really powerful, because there's so much nonsense about habit building, about these things, and they often say, oh, it takes so many days to change a habit, and so many weeks, even like 28, 56, blah blah blah, all these different things. But actually creating what I call conscious subconscious decisions, and being really clear about them is enough. Like you say, is actually ending that experience, sitting in silence or meditation, and letting that absorb a little bit, letting the possibilities happen. It's almost like it closes those neural pathways, the ones that you don't want, and allows you the space to open new ones, which are the ones you do want, in a technical term, and in a much simpler and faster format. So on to the questions, and in the order that I can see them is, so Agnes asked, when you end, jumping up, sorry, when you end the experience, do you need to do something specific to create a new, better experience from now on?
I don't have much, what do you call it? Yes, I think there's ways to do that. And if you're going for creating something specific, I would focus more on the possibility, right? So you don't want this. So we end the experience of this, and we end it energetically in a conscious way, which takes actually 3 components, which I think are important to say. One is consciously saying to yourself out loud, to your mind, you're ending something. 2, aligning with something bigger than you. It's just important, whether it's your higher self or the earth or Gaia or God or whoever it is that is bigger than you, knowing that you have the power as the creator of your life to also give endings to things in your life. And 3 is embracing the possibility. So I believe to start to make the most newness in a specific way, I would focus on inviting the possibility and the potential that's in alignment with you in a focused way towards that specific thing or that specific goal would be the way I would go about it. I don't have much actual practice in that because I take Presence Manifest to the extreme, in which I just end everything I possibly can all the time and invite whatever the possible highest potential is for me without very much thought on specifics, and it seems to work out really well that way. So
yeah, I think that's what's crucial is that you know, something I've learned is you do need to close every experience, good and bad. Here's what I wanted to talk about. You said something really interesting about, and hopefully I'll get this right, is how so many people think it's our experiences that define us. You know, we are our experiences, when actually it's the lessons that we learn, the absorption of them, that create the wisdom that defines us. So it's closing those experiences and learning the lessons that really makes you who you are today, not actually having the experience. You are not, in the same way that you're not your habits, you know, you're not your experiences. Your experiences are offer you the wisdom, and only if you choose to find it, that defines who you are today. So interesting questions here. So Anastasia has asked, does it help to do anything with your experiences before you close them down, or just end them?
Just end them, because this is when you're trying to, in the beginning, when you embrace the conscious ending practice, you're going to try to just end as much stuff that you've accumulated throughout your life up until you started the practice. But then on a daily basis, we have a daily practice, or I have a daily practice, in which at the end of the day, I say something to the effect of, you know, I end my experience of this day in gratitude. I embrace the wisdom of everything I've learned, you know, in able to integrate it. And I embrace the mystery of what my dream time is going to be. And then I do the same thing in the morning. I thank my dreams for giving me and bringing me whatever experience they have. I embrace the wisdom for integration with gratitude, and I embrace whatever the day is going to be. So the first step of the process when you start working with Presence Manifest is really to just get rid of a bunch of the old stuff. The second step is to not take on any new old experiences hanging around, you know, and then the third step would be to embrace it as like a life philosophy, right? Like I live. But for practicality purposes, you don't really need to do anything with the experiences except thank them. Just thank them for being there, thank them for coming, and let them go. Like they've hung around long enough, you know?
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
Just imagine them as these little forms hanging around. Like they're just like, we came, we showed you something. We really just want to go home now. Like just let them go. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. I think Anna makes a good point here. She says, when we haven't ended our past experiences, it is like we are asking our minds to multitask. How can we focus on what's at hand when our minds have all this other stuff to tend to? I think, yeah, it's what we're
Yeah.
covering here. Yeah. So, would you like to add anything to that? Just, okay. It's all right. We've got
No,
more questions.
it makes perfect sense because if we're thinking of something, right, just pick anything, and you have had 500 experience of that thing. If all those files automatically open as soon as you focus on this person or this thing, then we are asking our senses, our emotions, everything to multitask, because we're in 500 different experiences at once. These open experiences do act like little time portals. And so a little bit of our energy goes into all of them. And so our singular energy, which should be here focused with what's going on now, gets diluted, right? And so we are multitasking because we're in 500 moments at once, this being our primary one. And in the event of trauma or nostalgia, a really highly energized open experience, that experience also can become your primary one in this moment. Like you can be called into PTSD or called into like dreamy nostalgia and not even really even be here at all. You'll be somewhere else because most of your energy goes into this other experience. So when you close them down, you have the more likelihood that you're actually here now, right? All of you or most of you.
Yeah, I think these are the things that we're all learning about how this happens.
Yeah.
Right? We have so much energy, but it is often displaced. And, you know, these new and slightly old methods of clearing energy, you know, are here to empower us. You know, it does take some acceptance, you know, some belief, like anything, and a desire to want to leave those things behind and continue moving forward with our lives. So Agni's asked the question. Now we've got questions about habits. So for Agni, habits suggest that it needs some repetitive action to stick. Is it different after ending the experience with the previous habit?
Yes. I take up habits a lot actually easier. this is going to sound really silly, but I just started a habit of brushing my hair in the morning, first thing when I wake up. Right? It would have in the past taken me a long time to be like, I really want to do this thing. I really just want to brush my hair in the morning when I wake up so it doesn't get naughty in the middle of the day and I have to deal with this mat by like, 3 o'clock in the afternoon because I didn't brush my hair in the morning. It's silly things like that this really helps with, right? So a couple of days ago, I was like, I'm over it. I'm over this naughty hair. I'm over this experience. And like, I want to have a better way of this. And I chose it. And, I woke it up like the last 4 days and I just wake up and it's habitualized. I'm not even really thinking about it. Like I actually have created a habit. Like I wake up and I turn on my phone and I grab my brush and I brush my hair. Right. So you can implement habits way quicker when you're coming to that desire from a present state with not a bunch of clutter in your energy system. And if I want to change that habit, then I just have to end my experience of this one, thank it, state the new one and move into that one with clarity and like conviction. Certain habits are good. Like brushing your hair in the morning so you don't have a naughty head,
yeah, absolutely. And I love what you said there, clarity and conviction, because I think that's part of belief, isn't it? So you've got to be clear about what you want and convicted that you want it, and that creates the belief that really is like a catalyst for most things, including miracles. So I think so Agni's responded. She feels that we are such control freaks the way society made us to be, that letting go has become a hard thing to do, generally speaking. Would you like to elaborate on that at all? Or I can if you wish.
Yeah, why don't you give your opinion?
Yeah, I mean, my opinion has become like pretty general, and it's what helps me understand and really get massive results from all of these energy healings is that what you think is what you get. That's how I look at things. So people absolutely hated me many times for putting that statement on Facebook. But the more I understand about the way that life works, consciousness, source, and everything, it's fairly true. So you think it's going to be hard, it's going to be hard. You think it's going to be easy, it's going to be easy. You think that generally, I mean, I do agree that most people do. I'm not disagreeing with you that, as you say here, the way society made us to be, or yeah, we do seem to have a programming that it is hard to change, where that's come from, whether that's like the health industry wants us to use all their things, whether I don't know, but you know, I don't think it's as hard as we make out. Would you like to elaborate? I'm sure you can talk more about this than I can.
Well, I'm gonna keep trying to keep it to presence manifest, but transformation in general, this has been a theme this week. It isn't hard to change. It's just that society actually keeps us so busy and so distracted that most people don't change until they hit an absolute frustration point and they have to change. Most people don't change until they have to change, because we have we've built societies where we have all these thousands of different things to do and places to get to and things to order and online communities, and it has created a situation that people don't have the luxury and the privilege, honestly, to sit and delve into transformation work at will, like I think we should all be able to do. But I'm an inquisitive person. But the point being is that this practice makes that simple, like makes that easily accessible, because it doesn't take years, because it's something that you can tweak yourself energetically in the morning and just see what that does during the day. So it's not a lot of upfront effort, you know, to bring about change. You can just start tweaking your energy signature at will and ushering in some change, and then seeing how you feel with that and doing a little bit more tweaking. And it makes transformation work accessible on the daily, instead of something you have to go climb a mountain to attain, right? It's like practicing conscious endings can make that transformation process or that change process not have to be someone else was talking about their 7-year cycles today. I go through these 7-year cycles too, but not have to be these giant dying and phoenix rising moments, right? You don't have to just go, and then deep transformation and your whole life falls apart. You have to recreate it from the beginning. You can recreate things and tweak it as you go, and then you don't have as many of those spots anymore. You don't have as many of those really deep, dark nights of the soul that go on forever and ever and ever, because your whole life has to fall apart to put it back together again. Right?
Yeah, because absolutely. And what I'm really glad about is that led to this conversation. That question led to this conversation, because that's one of the things that really made a lot of sense to me. Was when we talked before, you mentioned about how these traumatic experiences, although they create positive change, they also have another effect, which is, and I'm going to leave it to you.
Oh, you were talking about the rock bottom experiences.
Yeah, rock bottom experiences. Although they seem to create that positive change, there's something that often people overlook, which is
they become another open experience, right? So you go through this rock bottom experience, which most of us who have been through a rock bottom or two know that right after that is when all the gold, it's like you hit this thing and the 3 things happen, the 3 things that need transformation that Presence Manifest is based on. You are over something. You reach out to a higher power. You're hanging on that proverbial toilet, like, I'll never drink again, right? Please, God, if you get me through this, and then, but then you're also open to possibility, because this sucks so bad that you're willing to embrace whatever else takes its place, as long as it's not this, right? So it pushes you into transformation. But then all these things start to shift in your life, right? You get sober, or you get a divorce, or you leave the abusive person, or, you know, you get out of the situation that was causing you hell, and all these possibilities start opening up. But then that rock bottom experience becomes one of these little things that are floating around, and your mind equates getting a bunch of growth out of it. And so if you don't close that experience energetically, you will repeat it. Like your mind will say, well, the last time because you always want to grow. Like as human beings, I think essence, we want to evolve, we want to expand, we want to grow. We're built to do that. So if we're not doing that, and we go back to our life and we get it back to a nice little stable place, and we get everything habitualized, and we're doing the same thing over and over and over again, eventually our soul is going to be like, we want some more information, we want something new, we want some vibrancy. And if you have a rock bottom experience that's open, it may send you plummeting down to another rock bottom, because you want change. And that's where change exists in your past history, until you create a habit and a wisdom and a mindset where change can exist without that. Right. So, yeah. So rock bottoms become old experiences.
Yeah.
So we have to close them.
And I can relate to that, actually. The amount of times from my teens into my 20s, it was almost like I was just stuck in a cycle of living the same experience. Everything would get great. I get to a point, hit rock bottom, everything would get a bit, and it was slowly spreading out. So it would be like annually, and then it would be every 2 years, and then I got it to every 5 years, but it was still happening, and eventually it stopped. But it was still quite hard to manage. It was very energy consuming. So one of the things that Anna's said here is there's a couple of comments. Let's go back to here. So, and for ADHD people like her, and there's a few of them here, me too, the social distractions are very hard to ignore, she said, you know, so it's something we're talking to, and other people agreed with that. And so Anna's asked, do you recommend the daily practice? If so, what does it look like?
Yeah, so my daily practice is I wake up and I say sacred space, or I set sacred space, right? Because my practice is energetic, and what it's really all about is creating an energetic container for you to experience your day in. And I want that energetic container to be, first and foremost, for me, sacred. So I set sacred space every day. That sounds like all benevolent energy available to us be with us and for us now in the most benevolent way. All other energy be bound by love to the extent that I am safe, to the extent all are safe with me, to the extent I am safe with myself. And in gratitude, I embrace the mystery of the day. So I set my day up with that parameter. So, and I have faith in my being a human creator, right? And the fact that we create our reality, I have a lot of faith in that. So I know that when I create my container for the day, that's where everything's going to land, right? So that's number one. Number two is letting go of the past experiences of the night. So that sounds like what I said earlier, ending my experience of my dream time, embracing the wisdom, integrating it, and embracing the mystery of the day. Let go, have gratitude, embrace the mystery in alignment with your highest self. Live throughout the day. If anything pops up during the day, I can use my conscious ending practice to clean it up a bit. A good example would be if I walk into a place and I have anxiety, but there's no logical reason for me to have anxiety. I will end my experience of anxiety right there in my head. You know, I have my experience of anxiety. For me, it actually sounds like presence manifests with this anxiety. But it's a whole series of things that I've habitualized presence, right? So in my experience of anxiety, feel into it, right? Sometimes the anxiety just goes away because something in the environment was triggering something that made me anxious before. If it's still there, I'll end the creation experience of the anxiety, meaning I'll end whatever my mind is saying is a trigger. as the experience, feel into that. But all these can happen in a snap of a finger. So you're standing in front of a store, you can do 3 or 4 of these things. The third time, if it's still really there, right? Then maybe it's my intuition. So I'll look around and see if there's anything for me to really be anxious about. But normally within the first 2 or 3 things, it dissipates, or I get the information. It says, oh, you're anxious because this reminds you of XYZ.
Right.
So then I end my experience of that and I move into the space. So it's very practical. It's very applicable to moving through the world in a more clearer, less attached way to our past.
Right, I love that. And I mean, so there's some real pearls of wisdom there. And I really love the way you start the day. So close experiences, gratitude, welcome the mystery of the day. I love that.
Yeah.
Really, really powerful. And so we've got more questions. I now have some building starting on this side. So if you hear the odd bang, okay, sorry about that. It's one of those days today. So, right, there's a question from Anastasia about the hitting rock bottom moment. So is the lesson to live in constant surrender without hitting rock bottom first?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That was the yes.
It is bringing the death, birth, down, rise to every single day at will, so that you're playing with it and you're not slave to it by circumstance.
Okay, that's brilliant. Yeah, so full on banging. We've now got another Dawn Gonzalez has asked a question, and she said, would you mind sharing your perspective of karma clearing, and if you feel there's a correlation to presence, manifest, and closing experiences?
Yes. So when I started this, I would, on an energetic level, if I'm doing energy work, I'm doing this energetically. But in teaching it as a philosophy, it's in the words, it's in how we create our reality. So I used to say, I am my experience of, this type of relationship, maybe, right? Then I realized a lot of things are coming up from past lives and stuff like that. So I added, I am my experience of this down to nothing, crystalline clarity in this body, in all of my bodies. Then I started adding in all of my lives, right, for a long time. And then I realized that there's also these potentialities of us, or how other people see us as, like, we can exist in several different timelines or dimensions or probabilities, right? Multidimensional beings. So now I say I have my experience in this body, in all my bodies, in all my lives, and all my dimensions. and
Super powerful.
And it does actually have a different effect, because we do bring in past experience from past lives, and we do bring in experience from our different potentialities, right? So my ultimate goal, which I have never reached at this particular point, but it's a worthy goal to go towards, is just to have the least amount of past experiences open. So that's past life experiences, this life experiences, other dimension experiences. If there's something beyond that and I figure it out, I'll add it to my mantra.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I really love that as well, because I think there's a lot of talk about how society influences us, and how even things that we're not aware of, ancestral beliefs, influence us. And I personally had a lot of inherited beliefs throughout my life, and I've blown them away. We can disconnect from them. And as with Presence Manifest, I found the methods especially useful and fast to just realize, but you have to have that belief that you can. Then you have to start thinking, once you disconnect from them, you then focus on what's your alternative. And like, if we went into a more scientific way of looking at it, there's a thing called transactional analysis, where you have your parent, adult, child. Parent is all the things you were told and accepted as true. Your child is all the things you experienced through feeling, and your adult is all the conscious decisions you made and actually accepted. And that's kind of what you can do very quickly with presence manifest and the techniques here. So we've got a few more questions. So thank you for answering that. Other people really like that questions. So Anna's asked, we are, oh no, it's not a question. It just says, we are multiverses. Do you agree? Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
And then Agni said we need to add generational or ancestral experiences. Why do we need to add them? Any?
I would think she means to just add them to the ending, the experience.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'd imagine so too. And Anna's asked, relating to the question about karma and closing karma, clearing karma, can you help someone else to do this, like a child, for example?
Yes, by teaching. Okay, so this is more hypothetical, and I really hope in the near future to have study groups and test groups. That'd be great. But in theory, once a child, I think 5 or 6 years old, I believe, is like cognitively where they are able to witness themselves and their emotions. Once they can do that, if they incorporate a process of this where they, end their experiences on a daily basis, or it's kind of brought into their reality of like, you have the conversation, like, you're on this planet now, you're doing this thing, you may have been other places, like, let's do this ceremony in which we let go of all of our past lives and everything we've ever been, and we really embrace this life with as much possibility and alignment and potential for our greatest self and everything like that. I think it's 100% possible to do that. But I personally think the children coming in, now that we're on like a woo-woo topic a little bit, but I think the children coming in right now don't have this like we do. I think they're coming in without karma. I think we are one of the last generations. We are the ones here to break this, which is why Presence Manifest has created itself, which is why all these other modalities of quantum healing and energetics are coming out, is because we're kind of like the last of these people, I think, to go through this. If you witness little kids today, they know that they are way bigger than a child who doesn't know how to feed themselves, right? It's like, they know, like, if you talk to them, they're brilliant and they're connected and they have this hyper awareness that I think they're just coming in with. I think evolution. I think these processes are more for people who are maybe, I don't know, like more in the 30s, but just to be safe, I think all kids should have a good conscious ending practice because why take energetic clutter when you know that we can dissipate it? We created it, so we can dissipate it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think although the ancestral trauma and all the karma from before may have dissipated, children are still having experiences that they need to close and maybe don't know how to close. And I wanted to say that, sorry, something just flew in front of me there. I just wanted to say that people really love that thought. And I do too. And I'm really like, I felt that when you said that they are not going to be living this. We are closing the doors on all these years, centuries, millennia of bad karma, because we're awakening and the world is awakening now. And that is going to be the whole new future that we're all working towards, all of us, all the people watching, all the people that we meet with. And I think one of the things that I have on my mind is actually to create these group events. So keep watching this event, keep in touch with me, get in touch with Joey, and we're going to look at doing some group healing events for people where we can close trauma and really close experiences, sorry, not trauma, maybe traumatic, maybe not, but close experiences and really get people moving forward, leaving all these things that don't help us behind. Really loads of people love that comment. Loads of people really behind you on that one. Me too. So we're nearly at the end now. We've been on nearly an hour, and I like to try and keep it under an hour. So really, I think we answered all the questions when I look back, and really it's just about presence manifest. So how does presence manifest work a little bit? You have told us a little bit about that. There's no problem repeating yourself. And how would people expect to work with you?
Well, to work with me right now, I'm mostly doing flow sessions, which are 7-day deep dives for those who really want to embrace the idea of conscious endings as a practical tool. I created that mostly because I can walk with people through that over the 7 days, and I can get the basics, some of the ones that we talked about today, but I can make sure that by the end of the week, everybody has the basic practice, and that they've experienced enough endings and were able to debrief what actually transpired from those endings adequately. So my 7-day process is what I'm most focused on, which means I can really only work with like 4 to about 6 people a month. I'm creating an ebook, so look out for that. It'll have like the basic of these. It's going to be called something to the effect of like experiential energy templates. Why they're in the way. What are they and why they're in the way, right? These little open experiences that are floating around us. I think that's really where it begins. But you can find me, you can chat with me by setting up a scheduled chat through presencemanifest.com. I also do offer our talks, where we could talk about this philosophy more. We can see how it applies to your life. We can do, a lot of what I would do in the flow sessions at a way slower pace. It's beneficial if you're interested in going about it from a philosophical into practical, and not from an experiential into understanding. Does that make sense? I don't know. Anyway, yeah. So presencemanifest.com, presencemanifest.com. That's really the answer is go there and set up a time to talk to me, and then we'll figure out what you want. But definitely working on this ebook has been interesting. I've been focusing on that. I did want to get one more thing out that I was like, oh yeah, somebody said something, and then I was like, I want to say that, and now I'm trying to remember what it is.
So
you said it, and I can't remember, but you just like slipped it in there, you slipped it in there. Oh yeah.
Okay. Brilliant.
All experiences. We want it. 2 things. One, I think that kids should brush their teeth at night and have an energetic hygiene practice. And their experience with gratitude, let go of the day, embrace the mystery, just the same thing. And then the other thing is that every experience is clutter. It's not just the bad ones, right? Nostalgia is a huge limitation on present possibility, just as trauma is. So all experiences are clutter. I think that's something I really would love for people to begin grasping, and also, or just imagining. Just imagine that your best experiences are as limiting as your worst experiences. But also imagine that your traumatic experiences are also just like all the other ones, right? You went and ate dinner. Energetically, there's a little form for you going out and eating dinner. And energetically, there's a little form for that traumatic experience. And closing them energetically, at least on an energetic basis, is the same exact process. It doesn't require any more effort to close an experience that was a traumatic one than it takes to close an experience that was walking in the park on an energetic level.
Yeah.
What Brilliant. It'll bring up somatically and emotionally and all that stuff with a good support system, you can get through that very quickly.
Okay.
But you don't have to do anything different.
Right.
Energetically speaking.
Okay. So somebody's actually just popped in another question there. So are memories also clutter?
No. Because they are, okay, yes, they are, because everybody has a bunch of open experiences. The memories, while the experiences of them are open, exist in the actual energetic form. So when you're remembering something, you're going back into that experience. True memories are when the form is actually closed, the experience is done, and you have like, you're remembering it. It becomes part of you and you're remembering it, right? So when you remember a memory, there's no clutter. You're just you in the present moment having an experience of a thought. When you're reliving a memory, which can happen when the experience is still open, you're being sucked out of the present moment back into that other one, right?
Yeah, makes perfect sense.
So memories are not clutter as long as the experience that brought you the memory is closed. Then it's just wonderful information you can build new things with.
Yeah, awesome. No, I mean, so well expressed. Yeah, beautiful, Anna said there. And I mean, I think that's something that I learned was really the problem was open experiences. You have that you almost feel like you're still there. And so the difference between a memory and an open experience is when you think about it and it brings back the pain from that experience, that's something you're probably going to need to close. It's that simple, really. When you think about it, no matter whether it's good or bad experience, let's call it,
Right.
which are, yeah, then, you know, and there's no emotion attached to it, you close that experience, you know, you've not
Right.
living in that moment anymore. And it is possible. And I guarantee you that because I have done it myself. And so many of the things that I used to call traumatic experiences or bad experiences or things I'd like to forget, I can now remember without any emotion. And so just want to.
But you have emotion, right? Like you can, because I think this is the thing that scares people is, oh, if I get rid of the memory, I'm going to lose the emotion. You still have the emotion, not from that day, but from this day, you have an emotion about that memory, right? It doesn't mean that you become unfeeling. You just go, oh, that was a good memory, or I feel good remembering that, or that.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, but I don't have the pain.
Right? But you're not in it.
I'm not triggered. I'm not triggered to feel, oh, uncomfortable. You know, I'm not thinking that's what I mean. So yeah, absolutely. I have good emotions. In fact, now looking back at my experiences in the past, I see them as all as lessons for me, as things that I needed to get to where I am now. So in fact, what was a trigger moment is now actually a satisfaction moment. You know, like, hey, I got through that. I'm here today. I'm not there anymore, you know, and things have constantly evolved through overcoming them. So yeah, absolutely. Very well said, because I probably did sound like I'm a completely emotionless robot there, not feeling anything, but no, that's not me. Okay, so I think we're going to wrap it up for today. That's exactly 60 minutes. Thank you to everybody. It was really a pleasure to share this space with you all. So if you're watching now and you want to talk to Joie, there's also a link in the description below the video on the event page. And if you're watching the replay, there will be just a link to her website and even straight to her booking form in the description wherever you're watching this video. So give her a click. There's no harm in talking to her. She can really help you with a lot of things. And, you know, like she said, 7 days for life-changing experiences. That's nothing. So give her a call. Send her a message. Give her a call. So thank you. Thank you, Joie. Oh, it was lovely to have you here. Really enjoyed it. Thank you to everyone watching. We're going to go enjoy our weekend and see you next Friday for another Food for Thought. And next week, I am with Brenda Johnston, who is a shaman healer, and we'll be talking about other types of healing that can really help you move forward with your life. So thanks for being there. Bye.